All right, in case you guys don't want him, you don't like him, but I want you guys to understand that a lot of Nigerians like this man. Who is this man? Peter Obi. A lot of Nigerians want him to be the next president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. A lot of satanic elites who have impoverished Nigerians to where we are today, who have stolen our commonwealth, who have consistently, repeatedly stealing our money without any consequences. They are the one fighting Peter Obi, in case you don't know. And the few Nigerians that you see on social media and on ground fighting Peter Obi, they have been paid, they are fighting for their stomach interests. I want you guys to know that Peter Obi will rise again. In 2027, Peter Obi will be the next president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, because Nigerians are ready this time. Listen to this, guys.
You mentioned that you were cautioning Peter Obi to be careful about the coalition. I mean, there have been rumors going around that the PDP is trying to woo him back. Is that a fact?
Yes, it's our product. We want to get him back indeed, because he's a very, very, great capital for any political party. The truth of the matter, if he had not gone the way he did in the last, dispensation and proved that mettle to be able to generate over 6 million, in spite of the rigging and the frustration of his chances in many of the states, Peter Obi is truly a political capital, no doubt about it. And every political party that will have the opportunity of getting him, it will be to their advantage. And certainly PDP is not losing that effort. We are also making that effort in the belief that in the fullness of time we might get him, and it will add more to the chances of PDP.
And what about Nyesom Wike? Is he an asset or is he a drag on the PDP at the moment? I mean, he's straddling two parties, isn't he? Well, essentially.
That's right. The last time I checked, he's still a member of the PDP. He hasn't come out to denounce his membership, and even if it's coming with some disadvantage, like many have observed.
What kind of disadvantage?
A lot of persons will say that he is also another albatross, to PDP.
So the PDP would be better off if he packed his bags and left, basically. That's what I'm inferring from what you're saying.
Probably, because to be honest with you, those who stand against the chances of the PDP or have been doing things that will not promote the interests of the PDP are not necessarily within the PDP. And as a party, anyone who will constitute clog on its wheel of progress is better out of the PDP. So the PDP will get itself together and be able to bring back that, democratic hope for Nigerians yet again. So certainly if Nyesom Wike is not going to be to the advantage of the PDP, which many argue, then he can also bid PDP farewell so that he stand wherever he is and do his bid. But certainly the PDP will not have one person, and there's not a single person that has that capacity to put PDP to shame. Whatever they must have done, we previously had a committee in place, which we're still reviewing, to deal with those dissenting voices, those who have taken another decision and have done things that will amount to anti-party. And Wike is said to be one of them for the number of petitions we have received.
So why don't you just fire him? Expel him from the party?
Once the committee comes up with its recommendation in that light, certainly there will be no stopping us from doing so. We would get rid of them all.
Right. But I mean, it is the PDP, and you speak very confidently and very authoritatively, and I have to say very impressively.
Thank you.
I mean, for a party that many people believe is on its knees, I mean, is there any reflection taking place within because these are kind of bravado words that we're hearing from you. I mean, are you guys sitting back and really, reflecting on what is happening to the party? With Atiku, for example, I mean, that's just one person. The fact that virtually all the founding fathers and the original members are going or are gone, and so many people have lost faith in the party. I mean, one of the reasons Atiku gave for leaving is that the party has diverged from its foundational principles. That was the same thing that people like Emeka Ihedioha has said. That's the same thing that Dele Momodu said, who has just left as well, and a whole slew of others. I mean, they can't all be wrong. And I mean, according to Atiku's spokesman Paul Ibe, some PDP party members were now working openly with the ruling APC party. And this is one of the reasons that Atiku left. And you have to give it to him in terms of the potential credence of what he's saying if you guys are allowing Nyesom Wike to remain in the party and is openly saying he's going to work to bring, I mean, you know, President Tinubu back? I mean, is that what is happening in the PDP, that they're openly working with the APC, or do you think that his departure is specifically focused, as some of your colleagues have said, on his quest to run for the presidency?
That's clearly it, Charles. There's no other reason. Okay, in 2006, when he left for the first time to contest under the ACN, was the foundational values of the PDP eroded at that time? When he tried again in 2011 against Goodluck Jonathan, even refusing the president then, sitting president, the right of first refusal, were the foundational values of PDP eroded at that time. When he tried again in 2015, went and supported the APC to bring Muhammadu Buhari in power, were the foundational values of PDP eroded. So when he goes now, he would find, this is what the lawyer would call an alibi, finding an excuse from nowhere, you know, to justify action. If he doesn't get his ambition promoted in the same coalition, it's as dead as arrival. He is not a member. All that Atiku is obsessed with is to contest for the president of Nigeria at all costs. And when a person begins to think that he's indispensable in a movement, then it leaves much to be desired, even in his sincerity, you know, in that mission. So by now, one would be expecting Atiku Abubakar to have called it off, to have, you know, raised some other successors to say, 3 decades after, he's still aspiring for the presidency. It mustn't be you. If you can't see anybody all along this, then it's unfortunate. So PDP is not losing any sleep.
Well, to be fair to him, we don't know. I mean, his spokesman said he didn't leave the PDP because of his ambition to run for president in 2027. He hasn't declared any ambition yet.
That is what
so we'll have to wait and see. Maybe by some fluke of chance, he might support someone else. I mean, you don't know for sure, do you?
When we get to that bridge, we'll be fair to him. But I dare him to announce tomorrow that he's supporting Peter Obi or any other person in that coalition.
Yeah, but the point is that it doesn't make things better for the PDP, though, does it? I mean, what can the PDP now say? Because beyond, you know, individuals, Atiku or Wike or Obi or whatever, what can the PDP now say to Nigerians is the reason to still believe in the party? Because all they can see is internal fights. I mean, you're sitting here, perhaps rightly so, but you're still sitting here. And I mean, it's all about, oh, well, this person or that person or whatever. And these are, you know, solid members, I mean, very sort of influential members of your party. What can you say to Nigerians is the reason to still believe in the party? Because all they can see is internal fights, fights that have bent and twisted the PDP completely out of shape, defections that have severely weakened the party, and it comes across as no longer being able to operate even as an opposition party, talk less of actually winning a national election.
I would respond by reminding you, Charles, that PDP is 27 years today, and the longest Nigeria has had throughout democratic experience, even if it is to be started from the First Republic. No political party has lasted within this period. And that was the period, 16 years of its managing the affairs of this country. Nigeria, as at 2015, when we lost power, was the 3rd fastest economy in the world, next to only Qatar and China, and the fastest in Africa, fastest growing economy. Nigerians must be reminded this, and then we will govern this country on a single digit inflation. We conceded, you know, the loss of power even before counting was over. We demonstrated statesmanship. We created democratic ambience and civil, freedom for Nigerians, for this democracy to flourish and thrive. We conducted elections and allowed the umpire, INEC, to dictate, the pace.
Well, some would argue against that.
Whether they argue, the last exercise was what we will use here to describe how.
You mean the 2015?
The 2015, where a sitting president could have, influenced the outcome, but he accepted and considered defeat and called on the victor, even before INEC officially, announced the result, to come, send his team, for transition proper. What is important for Nigerians is for them to reconcile the situation they have today with what obtained when PDP was in power. And you did ask earlier whether
was it, I don't mean to interrupt you and I apologize,
yes,
but was it actually the PDP or was it some individuals, because what we're seeing from the PDP is that, and that appears to be the case with most parties in Nigeria, that they don't have a solid ideology, they don't have a foundation on which to stand. And basically, individuals come, they make a difference, the party piggybacks off that difference. But once you're no longer in power, it completely dissipates your energy, because that is what essentially has happened to the PDP. It lost power in 2015, and it has been a case of completely diminishing from election to election, right up to where you are right now. And people would argue that the reason for that is because the PDP doesn't have any foundation beyond winning an election and being in power, and then sort of revolving around the person who is sitting in Aso Rock. And given that you haven't been able to do that, I mean, you're essentially, you know, tessellated.
It will not be a correct narrative for the PDP, because it will take a PDP for it to last even after losing power for a decade now. It's still there, and we are priding ourselves as we speak today with 10 performing governors who have carved niches for their states and who have stood out in the crowd relative to what obtains in the APC-governed states. So our governors have done so well, it doesn't matter if we are receiving a lot of pressure and influence of the ruling party APC for them for the few elements that are cowed, you know, in their midst. Our people have still been speaking, and PDP is still not intimidated. We truly will come out triumphant. Some of the crises that we battled with, including the recent ones, we have come out of it, Charles, if you ask me. Because it has to do, it had
well,
to
you
do,
haven't. That's why people are leaving your party.
It had to do with the national secretary of the party.
Yeah.
That was essentially what brought the division in the party, and the matter escalated
well,
to a level.
One of the divisions.
Well, one of the divisions, but that was the top on the rank. It divided the party and the hierarchy across. But then we got it right recently when we had our NEC, which will be repeated in a couple of weeks. By the 23rd, 24th, and 25th, you will see a different PDP. It will come out triumphant. It will yet again rekindle faith with Nigerians, and will give the ruling party fight of its money. By the time we have, you know, the convention committee in place, new set of leadership is put in place, you will see a new PDP. And we will come back triumphant again, and there will be light at the end of the tunnel. Rest assured, I will come back here and let you know that I've told you this a few weeks ago when I came here. PDP is beyond an individual. We had at a time, if you recall, where a former president tore his membership card of the party. No sooner we saw him coming back into the PDP. It is the Trojan and the elephant in the house. The more you look, the less you understand. If we are talking about democracy and you leave PDP out of it in Nigeria, then you haven't started. PDP is the hope of Nigerians, and I can boast my chest and tell you that it will spring surprises in 2027.
Right, but at this stage, where do things go from here for the PDP? I mean, is it all about survival, or is there any second wind that could move the party beyond that and actually help it to thrive again? And we think about the reconciliation efforts, for example, of the former Senate President Bukola Saraki, and I wonder what's going on with all of that.
Yeah, we're doing it. That's why I told you there are some things that are not for public consumption, so we don't let the cat out of the bag for our opposition not to get rid of it. Because, yeah, we agree that the ruling party is dissipating energy, doing all within its powers, and deploying the arsenals of divisiveness across all the political parties, so it can silence voices of dissent. It has done so with Labour, it is doing so with the PDP, it's doing so with the SDP. You will recall the SDP was the first place where they said they were going, and they realized that the SDP is already in the pocket of the ruling party, and they now went and brought the ADC. I only reminded them a few days ago when I spoke with, I think, AIT. I said, what makes them think the ruling party is not in the ADC as well? So it's a very serious situation, but the only political party that has the capacity to withstand that storm is the PDP. And that's why we still have 10 powerful governors doing so well in their respective states, and would spring surprises. Some of these things are not yet for public consumption, but we are creating national nights to see how we will come out of the quagmire. But I did agree with you. We came out of a storm, we suffered some problems, but we are navigating the water safely.